Welcome to the TCAT 10-Minute Take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don Legend Chambers. And this is the 10-Minute Take, which is the 10-minute version of our normal TCAT podcast, where we talk about all things entertainment, news, gossip, shenanigans. But in the 10-minute take, we just do one spoiler-free, hopefully spoiler-free review on one movie only. And today's movie is Joker. But before we get into it, make sure you click that subscribe button and you click that bell so you get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. And I'm buying myself some time to set up this timer. So while I'm doing this, you do that. Buttons.
Click, click, click.
Okay, click. And as
Get
always,
comfortable.
Don will go first. And go.
Okay, Joker, directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix. I literally just got out of the theater about, 15 minutes ago. Okay, let me say this. Is it a good movie? Yes. Very good movie. It's well shot. It's well acted. It's done in a very realistic kind of way, sort of what the current Batman movies, with Ben Affleck tried to do, give it a bit more realism in there, and what also the Christian Bale Batman movies, very realistic feel. This one, even more so. This one had a very gritty. I'm looking at it, and I know for a fact they're basing it on like early 1980s New York.
I think it was like 76 or something. It was set in the 70s.
Okay, then it was definitely late 70s, early 80s New York at the most. It sure looks like it. I mean, it was hardcore. So it's beautifully shot. The acting, top notch. Joaquin Phoenix just knocks this out the park. Trust me, there's no doubt on that. I guess the only thing that struck me as I was watching is that and maybe something I just sort of have to let marinate a bit, but I don't know if I quite bought him, Arthur, becoming, from the stuff that happens to him, I'm not going to reveal anything, homicidal. I don't, because some of the stuff that happens, don't get me wrong, it's pretty deep, and it's the sort of stuff that it would be very shocking and might break him, considering he's supposedly on this medication and he's,
right,
some sort of treatment. I don't know if I quite got him leaping to the homicidal part, but let me just say, once he does, he does. And I thought the ending, not the very end scene, but the one just before that, was a powerful scene, with him standing there, and I thought the music and just seemed just powerful. And the biggest thing I thought of when I'm watching this, especially towards the end, is it's like, my God, DC and Warner just screwed up, because they've said this is not going to have any tie to their universe.
I don't think that's true. But go ahead.
That's what they've said.
Right.
It's not going to have any kind of time.
I think that's a lie.
They're doing another Joker with, what's his name?
Right. Jared Leto. Which makes sense. Now, I'll never mind. Go ahead.
No.
Finish.
You're right. You're right. It makes sense, because that's the one that they put in the movies. But I'm sorry. I mean.
No, but I mean, now it makes sense. Now, with this together.
Maybe, and I think I know where you're getting at it. There's some spoilery stuff I would love to talk about.
Let's talk about it on the long show.
Yeah, we'll have to do that later.
Yeah.
But let me just say, great movie. It's absolutely worth the opening night ticket, hands down. Easy. I mean, you don't need to see this in IMAX. It's not built or situated, or you don't get anything extra, but you could see this opening night. You could pay full price. If I was to give this a 1 out of 10, this is a solid 8. It could be higher, but I guess I just need to maybe watch it again to see. I don't know. I just something about when he makes that switch to that. I don't know if I missed where it clicks into that.
Yes, you did.
I guess I did. I mean, everything else coming up, I was feeling it, but when he got there, I was like, I don't know. But man, let me tell you, this would have been a great Joker origin movie if somebody else was restarting the Batman franchise. Great. I mean, because of stuff I just can't talk about, which made it just that much more interesting.
Right.
Yeah. This is good stuff.
Okay, so let me go ahead and say I went into this expecting this movie to be terrible. Like, I was expecting it to be just like a self-indulgent, self-important, like, kind of, exercise and masturbation situation, only because of the way the director has been talking about it in interviews. It was just like kind of eye-rolly, just self-indulgent shenanigans. But it was a million times better than I went in expecting it. And by far, probably the best thing that DC has put out this generation of DC movies. It easily topples all of those movies that we've seen up until this point. And it is unfortunate that, like you said, like it's the DC Black Label that they're allegedly going to have be standalone away from the rest of this garbage fire that they have going on. Which on one hand, I can understand wanting to distance this from the garbage fire. But on the other hand, this movie and the way that it is situated in the DC universe and the way that it's situated in time and in the story kind of makes all those other movies make more sense. And, like, if they play it right, it can click these other characters into place a little bit better than they would have otherwise been in. Like, it unintentionally ties things together that had no business being tied together. If that makes sense. Like it was, I think it was, I don't know if it was intentional. If it was just like a happy accident or a byproduct of a well-crafted movie. But with that said, we can get into the movie a little bit. Like, I felt like it was a very, I hesitate to use the word gritty because everything is gritty, and that's not the takeaway from that. But it's a very, like, nasty, real look into society's kind of throwaway people and, hardcore mental illness and, what is social responsibility and, cutting programs and, properly medicating people and people who want to be well in society and just can't seem to make that happen from, childhood abuse that's exacerbated as you grow up and you have like these mental problems that, are never really you're never really able to fully address and function because of poverty and dealing with people with extreme mental illness and extreme poverty at the same time and how that is compounded on society and then the stressors that you have in society with it was set in the 70s, so there was like the huge garbage strike and there's graffiti and there's crime and everybody's poor and everybody's just out for number one and there's cigarette smoke everywhere and there's trash everywhere and there's rats everywhere and it's just gross and dank and we did have that time in this country and we're still kind of can't afford to forget that time.
Right.
Because, you can look around and see Skid Row today and see, it's not like it's papered over real pretty, the way the city looks and the new construction and things are definitely better and the economy's better, but it's like I'm seeing $5 a gallon gas and I'm seeing like Tent City and you can see how how things can crumble quickly. And then where are these people who are left on the margins and like the fringes of society, like what they're left to fend for themselves. And this is the very first time I've ever seen a movie where Thomas Wayne is portrayed as an actual person.
Yes,
not
that's true.
this like deified mystical figure through the rose-colored lenses of a child who lost his parents. You know, like he was just like the saint of a person who happened to be a billionaire. And I don't know any billionaires who are also saints. So to have like it was just really interesting to have like a more realistic approach on Thomas Wayne. Like he's not a bad guy necessarily. It's just he's not a saint. He's not perfect. He's not like this thing that you should aspire to, which is kind of a thing that we have in this country where, you know, it's like the prosperity gospel. Like if you are in a position of power and wealth, it's because you deserve to be. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're just born into circumstance, and sometimes and if you're poor and you're in this cycle and situation of poverty, it's because you deserve that because of something you've done. And that's not always the case either. I mean, that's rarely the case. And this movie takes a really hard look at some of that, and it's nasty, and some people aren't going to like it. And I almost wish that this wasn't a Joker movie, because it gives people the opportunity to dismiss it as frivolous and just a comic book movie, and it's going to incite violence, and there's going to be Joker copycat wannabes who are going to go out and shoot up movie theaters and blah, 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 blah. Instead of that, this is a really hard look at, you know, the nastier side of unchecked capitalism, really. And, you know, what happens to, or can potentially happen when people are upset and angry and have felt thrown away by their society they live in. And so it's a good movie. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's a good movie. It's a hard movie to watch. I wouldn't bring kids to it. It's rated R.
Oh, no.
And we were like, what are these kids doing up in here? I know it's a Joker movie. There were a couple things that were self-indulgent to me. Like, I didn't need to see Joaquin Phoenix dancing around that many times with no shirt on. It was like, we get it. You lost a ton of weight for this movie. I was like, I got it. Your ribs are showing, and it's like a thing. But I don't need to see it that many times. Like, there was a few moments that was like, there was a little. It
was a bit much, yeah.
Little self-indulgent. But on the whole, it was solid. Filmmaking, and I hate to say that because the director really gets under my skin as far as like just being kind of a dick, but he made a solid product, so I can't really fault him for that. It's definitely worth the full price movie ticket.
Oh yeah.
Cha-ching.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna do well. It's gonna do really, really well, and people are gonna take the wrong things away from it, and that's fine. But it's just a movie at the end of the day. You know, you can't expect a movie to change the world. So when we do our next full TCAT episode, we will talk about the Joker movie and the implications into the further DC universe and how it could possibly fit in, and why I think that them saying it's standalone is a big fat lie, because it's now clear to me with this new casting of Robert Pattinson how these dominoes are going to fit into place, and they are liars. But I feel like I get it. I understand they don't want to like give it away, and maybe they haven't quite figured it out yet.
And you know what?
Artistically, but
I hope you're right, because this would be a great, fascinating, interesting way to get that back up and going.
Yes, to get them back on track.
On track. Because it was, when those different pieces came in, I was like, oh, I like that. Mm-hmm. That's different, finally. Mm-hmm. It just, yeah. But
as what you were saying too, like, let me just like touch on that a tiny bit.
Yeah.
With not the changeover into the homicidalness of it.
Right.
He was always that. It was in the journals. And he was trying to not be that, like desperately trying to not be that, and feeling like it was a bad thing and feeling guilty about it, and like he was trying to up his medication, and
That's
like
true.
he was
That's true.
and if like they showed those journals a couple times, like you got caught glimpses of it, and it
Right.
was all it was very Kevin Spacey in Seven journals.
Yeah. That's
like
the first thing I thought
those
too.
journals were those journals, and
Yeah.
so once the system he was like kicked out of the system, then it was kind of like all bets were off, and he was unable to fight against those impulses that he had the entire time.
That's true. Okay. That's a good point.
And then he stopped feeling bad about it.
And then he stopped taking his medication.
He ran out.
He ran out, right, and he didn't even bother going back.
Because he just kicked out of the system was these are like not really spoilers, but like that was just that. Like that was that.
The social service that got cut. Yeah.
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 I mean, and that's what happened too in
right.
the U.S. in around that time is like those types of programs were drastically cut.
But you know what won't get cut?
What won't get cut?
TCATnetwork.com. It's a great website that won't get cut. It's there for everybody, for our tens of listeners to see more of this. So after you hit the subscribe button and then you go down there and you hit that bell to be notified when we do more postings, head to TCATnetwork.com. There you'll get links to everything that we've got, not just TCAT, but also Good Morning Antioch and the reading as well. All listed there. Easy to find. Easy to find. That's what we do. Make it easy for you. So don't forget, for any of our 10-minute reviews or our podcast, please be sure to leave comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to watch. We are here for you. So again, I think we can safely sum up. Definitely go see this movie, but don't forget to be watching out for the Long Take podcast, where we can go into more spoilers, more details, kind of reveal some of the bigger things that were kind of brought up and some of the implications, which I think would be kind of cool. And I'm hoping Sheree's right, because that would be very cool.
It's like right there. It's like right there. You could touch it. But this is how I felt about X-Men First Class, and then they just pooped on it. So
yeah, they did. So we'll see. So don't forget, TCATnetwork.com. Subscribe. Till next time.